Good morning, Andy here, and what's it, Monday morning, and I've put, as per usual, I should put the figures down there, and the daily deaths yesterday, 621, the total 4,934 now, and 47,806 people have tested positive, but I was talking about figures, yeah, I'm not going to go back into that again. I'm sure that's a subject that will come up again some other time. Also, the daily album for yesterday, which was back from 1988, and REM's Green album. The real reason I did that because I was wearing this green top. Yes, 2 days running, I know. And Julie was wearing a green top. I thought, what album should I buy? I thought, I know, green. Yeah, see, that's the way it should work. You dig the one out that sort of suddenly springs to mind rather than having a pile of them. And just a bit controversial for me, that's the last really good album that REM ever did, with every single track was a really good one. Yes, I know, you got Automatic for the People, has some great tracks on it totally, but not as consistent an album. And the one in between the two, Out of Time, had Losing My Religion, which is an excellent song, Half a World Away. But unfortunately, any album that's got shiny, happy people on it, yes, even REM have tried to disown that particular song. So there you go. Anyway, so what did you do Monday? What did you do at the weekend? Yeah, we had a quiet one as well. Strange that, isn't it? It's and here, as I mentioned before, it was a lovely weekend. It's changed now, typically, and so people were going out and getting out there and doing those things, as I mentioned. But it's brought new ideas out. As I mentioned before, there's an internet service that has been started up, an internet Facebook page called Isolation Station Hastings, because we're very much a musical town, musical city, as I've said before, and these enterprising people. I know there's a couple of people that I know. Dan, well, good job, mate, and set this up, and what they're doing is putting programming out every single day via Facebook. It's a bit of a sketch thing. There's some interviews. There's a bit of fun going on. Talking to local people who are trying to do things for the local community at this weird and strange time, but also playing gigs and having people come in. We watched a great one on Saturday. A young lady called Marie White from Hastings, who's just been signed, played Glastonbury last year, toured with Keane at the end of last year. She's local, known her for a few years now, known that she's got that thing. She's got that. That edge, so check her out if you can. But yesterday should have been Beatles Day. There's something that I've been involved with since 2004. Actually, was the first Beatles Day I did. I did 16 Beatles Day, and they were on the pier and also at the White Rock Theatre. Obviously, this year the event was cancelled, but they had the idea of trying to resurrect it a little bit and doing like a live thing, obviously from different people's bedrooms and studios and front rooms and all that type of thing, and linking it up with Dan and Rachel, who were doing the sort of emceeing, sort of my old job, if you want to call it that. And it was great to see, getting all the people involved, and they were still raising money for the Sarah Lee Trust, which is a local cancer charity, which is what Beatles Day was going to be all about this year. I wasn't going to be involved. I retired after last year's ones, after 16. But it's great to see all those things happening. I know that other people are doing it across the world, and I know it can become a bit much, as there are a lot of them, but there's some really good ones out there. It's good to see people trying to do something. Musicians, they want to perform, don't they? I know that they're all saying when they're playing, where's the applause or where's the reaction, the heckling or whatever it might be. There isn't that, obviously, because there isn't an audience. Well, there is an audience, and they can actually see, as you know, you've done a Facebook Live, you can tell how many people are actually watching, but it's not quite the same. You can see that, they're getting used to it. And I watched a great one from Richard Thompson. That was last weekend. I don't know if he did one last night. I'd love to see him do that one again from his place in America. He'd never done it before. It was quite amusing. So but it's good. It's good to see these people sort of saying, how do I turn this off? Is it on yet? And all this sort of stuff. It brings the human quality out. But yes, other things that we did actually. Well, I know a lot of people. Spoke to my daughter the other day, and she'd been doing sort of quizzes and things, talking to her friends, and even sharing drinks online. She was going to go online to her best friend and have a gin and tonic between them while they caught up on Zoom or something. And what we've done the last 2 weeks is with Julie's family, because obviously they're all over the place. Her two kids, one of whom is in London with his partner, her daughter's in Bristol with her partner, and her brother's two children as well, one of whom is still living at home but is actually was broadcasting from a different room so that it showed it out, and then their son with his partner in their house as well. So we had like 6 teams on the old, the old video conferencing app, and come up with a quiz. So we did it last week, did it this week again as well. Sort of 10 questions each, and have a couple of drinks, have a bit of fun, and all that type of thing. And it's good. It's good to catch up. It's a little bit of a focus on the day in a way. As of, you've got something to do over the weekend. You're connecting with your family as best as you can, because it's not easy. If you're confined to your 4 walls, and one little thing one little thing I will say is that people were going out yesterday, but we need to be careful about the way that we, the old curtain twitchers reporting people, because there are people, who are fortunate enough. We've got a shared community garden here amongst the flats that we live in. A lot of people haven't got that. It's all right if you've got a nice big garden or you've got an outdoor space of some sort. If you haven't, you need to get out for your mental health. One of those things that's been mentioned: fresh air, sunshine, a bit of vitamin D and all that sort of thing. So don't always criticise those people. You don't quite know what their situation is. Yes, if it's a group of lads having a barbecue in the park or something, I totally understand. But if it's a household group, and actually that could be a group of guys, I suppose technically, they might be just trying to escape that tower block that they live in. That they've been sat in the 4 walls of their sort of small flat or something, and it's their one chance of escape over the weekend. I know that's not always the case, but just bear that in mind. But a couple of things we'll mention. The way that things change, and the news and everything, you tell it's a momentous occasion when the Queen actually does a broadcast to the nation. She doesn't do that very often, but she did one last night. I must admit I didn't see it, but that shows the severity of where we are. Also, yesterday Boris Johnson ended up in hospital because of coronavirus, which sort of brings it home. And unfortunately, I do tend to think that he brought it on himself, because it was only a few weeks ago that he was happily saying that he was going to still be shaking hands, and he wasn't doing the social distancing that he was talking about, and he's ended up in hospital. I don't wish him ill at all. He's not my favourite person, but I don't want to see anybody ill. Certainly don't want to see anybody in hospital, because there are plenty of people who need to be in hospital. Obviously he does as well, and I wish him well. But talking about the social distancing, the mistakes and putting your foot in it, the Scottish chief medical officer, who happens to have a second home, decided that it was all right for her, after preaching to everybody else that you shouldn't, you should social distance, you shouldn't do anything apart from essential journeys, decided to go and visit her second home with her family 50 miles away, 2 weeks running. That sets a real good example. She has resigned now, but it does show you that, it's not one law for one, it's one law for everybody. We are all in this together, which is, I think, pretty much the message that the Queen said last night. We are all in this. We're all in different situations. Some of us have got 2 homes, some of us haven't got one at all. Some of us have got gardens, and some of us haven't. Some of us have got wide open spaces they can go to. Some of us haven't. Some of us have got jobs and haven't. People have been furloughed and, laid off and everything like that. But ultimately, we are all in this together, and we need to stick together, because if we don't, then this is going to last a lot longer and be a lot worse than it actually needs to be. So whether you're the Queen, or whether you're me, the Chief Medical Officer, or the Prime Minister, or that homeless person on the street, we are all in there together. So bear that in mind. So anyway, stay at home. Don't forget, that still applies. Stay strong, stay safe, and hopefully I shall speak to you tomorrow. Goodbye.